here. So Joe Biden is intending to take us off of fossil fuels. And looking at what he's saying, his plan for both gas tax for automobiles as well as heating your home, we're going to see some big changes here through this tax. So I'm going to walk you guys through what we can expect right now. Before I do, I'm going to say what's up to everybody in the chat. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this. We're going to have a conversation about this as I progress through this article here. So this massive gas tax in Biden's spending bill, this came out today at 11 a.m. President Joe Biden is desperately trying to get his multi-trillion-dollar spending package passed on Capitol Hill before Christmas, but according to Wall Street Journal, Build Back Better includes a significant tax on natural gas. It could be a rough winter for energy prices across the U.S., and the Democratic spending plan will make it worse. The House passed what it called a fee on methane that amounts to a stealth tax on natural gas and everyone who uses it. The editorial board writes the bill slaps an escalating tax on methane emissions by oil and gas producers that will reach $1,500 per ton in the next 3 years. The fee is meant to be President Biden's contribution to the recent Glasgow vow to reduce global methane emissions 30% by 2030. The tax is estimated to raise $8 billion over the next 10 years. Producers will naturally pass the cost of this tax along to customers. Some 180 million Americans use natural gas to heat their homes and run appliances, while some 5.5 million businesses use it to run their workplaces and manufacturing facilities. So this is, this is very fascinating to me because I've been reporting on what's going on with decarbonizing real estate, talking about, Ithaca, New York, for example, where they're going to decarbonize the entire city of Ithaca. The same in New York, same in Miami, they're talking about doing this. Also in Los Angeles, they're talking about this basically everywhere, right? And so when I'm reading these articles and I'm going through what these bills are, the laws that are coming in, how it's going to impact real estate and how it's going to impact affordability, I'm doing it from a place of fact because this is what they're saying. It's not, something that I'm coming out and saying. And that's why I think it's going to be so hard for a lot of people to be able to simply just afford to be able to do this. As I wrote in my VIP column last week, the pain of Biden's energy plan is the point. The administration is punishing Americans for using traditional energy sources in order to transition the country to a Green New Deal utopia of wind and solar. Biden's Energy Secretary actually better yet, I'm just going to have her read this. So let me take off the microphone here so we can play it right here in the MacBook. Hope you guys can hear this.
The president and this administration are looking at every single tool to shield American families from the impact of rising energy prices, and we're working through an energy transition. And we've got to start.
Look, listen to what she said. She had to fight to. Everybody out here.
We're working through an energy transition, and we've got to start by adding energy. And the reality is we have to take some time to get off of oil and gas. We recognize this. This is a transition.
It is a transition. So you think about that. So they're transitioning all of us off of traditional fossil fuels. That's why I think real estate is going to go through a huge shock. And that's why I mentioned last live stream, I think real estate is an incredible investment long term, but I did clarify that it's going to be for the survival of the fittest, people that have equity in their properties, people that are going to be able to pivot with the times through these changes, and people that are able to decrease rents if they have to, if things really got to that point, which it could. It very, very well could. She said, meanwhile, the Congressional Budget Office has scored the bill and shows it will add $3 trillion to the deficit. The Congressional Budget Office says Build Back Better would add $3 trillion over the next 10 years if its programs are made permanent. So, yeah, I mean, this is what we are looking at here. And that's why I think that it's so crucial to pay attention to all this stuff. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be laying out this electric car grid, which is going to make things, it's going to make things very, very challenging, especially for, the lower middle class, the lower middle class that are barely hanging on right now, because they were basically sold a story that they were going to be, they were going to be completely fine. They were going to get handouts. Everything was going to be completely just amazing, a utopia, right? And then ultimately it wasn't what they were promised. And now what's happening is we're going to have a situation where the people that have money are going to be able to pivot with these times. They're going to be able to go out there and buy the distress in the economy. That's the issue. So for example, in Ithaca, New York, when I first reported on this, I said that what they were doing, this is a CNBC article. They literally said that what is going to happen is that the cost per single family structure will be $50,000 to fully decarbonize on a median price point. $50K. That's a lot of money, especially when the average household, doesn't have $50K sitting in the bank as reserves, where they're just going, okay, yeah, I'm just going to allocate $50K to this. So what is this solution? Well, private equity investors are literally going out there and lending money on these assets. And then what's going to happen is that these property owners have to pay a monthly dividend to that private equity investor. So basically it's a forced lien on the property. It's incredible. You can look it up yourself. Go to Google, type in CNBC, Ithaca, New York, decarbonization, read the whole article. I just summed it up for you quickly. But that's what's happening, right? And so we're seeing these huge changes. That's why I'm saying it's so important for all of us right now to simply make smart decisions with, how we spend our time, who we spend our time with, what we're investing in, and where we are building out businesses. Because the world's changing so quickly, and it's unbelievable. It feels like every week some groundbreaking news is coming out. And someone said huge inflation is good for poor people. Yeah, I heard that too. I was blown away when I saw that. I'm like, people actually believe this? Really? Do people really believe this stuff? I want to read through some of these comments here. Yep. When there's some of these I'm not going to read, but I'm reading them, and I'm $3 trillion. What a steal. Yeah. Build back welfare. Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think about this? I could see a situation where we're going to go to the gas pump and get a gallon of gas and it's $8. I really could see that. Probably won't be overnight, but when I read an article, Steven Schwarzman, founder of Blackstone, and we had Larry Fink, founder of BlackRock, they were sitting there talking about energy prices are going to go through the roof. My advice right now to any landlord is to make sure you get the utilities off of your name. Because if utilities are, if they're relatively stable right now, they're increasing, sure. But if they're relatively stable, I would offer my tenant I would try to make a deal with them to get them to take over their own utilities without question. Because if the rate for utilities skyrockets and they have no concept of how much it's going up, then they're just going to keep using it and using it and using it when it's not necessary. And it's going to greatly increase your expenses on your property. And it's also going to take away a lot of the profitability from the asset. You could, depending on how expensive utilities get, it could get to a point to where utility prices could get so high to where you could be cash flowing one day and then in the red another day. So they literally said that the goal is to get us fully off of, I'm going to show you this again, to get fully off of And you can listen to, it was hard for her even to say this. And that's what's really concerning to me. It was hard for her even to come out and just be point blank and tell us. You can look at the hesitation.
But the bottom line is that this president and this administration are looking at every single tool to shield American families from the impact of rising energy prices. And we're working through an energy transition.
Yep.
And we've got to start by adding energy. And the reality is we have to take some time to get off of oil and gas. We recognize this. This is a transition.
Yeah, quick update for you guys. It's a transition. It is a transition. So think about everything that we use gas for. Everything that we use gas for is going to change. The cost, the taxes that are going to be really pushed to these providers, it's going to be handed off to the consumer. They said it. It's obvious. They're not going to start operating their business at a loss. They're going to push all the costs to the consumer, just like big corporations are doing right now at the grocery store. They're pushing all the cost, all the shipping delays, all the issues straight to the consumer. Same thing's going to happen with natural gas, with filling up the tank and heating your house. Big changes coming, but quick report. I'll catch you guys on the next live stream. Hit the notification bell to join, and